Everyone, I just want to say, focus on this claim today that says the Gospels are unreliable or anonymous too, actually. Right? Yeah. Hello, guys. So today I want to focus on the claim that the Gospels are anonymous. So here's the thing: there's not any evidence to support this, right? All the beginning of the pages of the manuscript they have found of the Bible of the New Testament, they all have the names. All right, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Right? Now, when they say the gospel are anonymous, they often make the assertion without knowing that that must mean that we can trust them. All right. So, but the logic does not follow because if someone that is anonymous says the sky is blue, right? That does not make the claim false only because it was anonymous, right? So when someone says the gospel are anonymous, they basically are giving the facts that, or the belief, the assertion that you can't trust them because you don't know who wrote them. But here's the thing, they say an eyewitness will say, "I did this and saw Jesus," and all these things, right? Or something similar to that, right? But instead, the Gospels they say that the disciples, right, um, did this and that, as basically giving the impression that the disciples did not write this. But here's the irony: you are judging a 2,000-year-old text with the mentality of today, of how we do things today. All right, people were writers back then. All right, so they wrote in third person, and that is called something about Iliism or something like this. I don't know. I cannot remember. But basically, third person writing. All right, is what they wrote. Is how they wrote it, right? And here's the thing: I can write that he went down to the toilet, right? That does not in any way make what I say false, only because I wrote in third person. Neither does it mean that I did not write it because my name is not there, or because I didn't say I went down to the toilet, right? So when someone says the Gospels are anonymous, say basically, so what? All right. One, they are not anonymous because all the Gospels have the names on it. There were never any different names. And two, uh, basically all the 2,000 years, there's never been any other names attributed to them, showing consistency. But not only that, they had Mark and Luke. All right, these were two people that did not walk with Jesus. All right, they did not walk with him. So here's the thing: why would uh, assuming the Gospels are anonymous, why would Christians who rejected many New Testament writings because they were skeptical about them and never rejected the four Gospels because they always accepted them from the beginning? Just read history, it's a fact. The four Gospels were always a fact in the eyes of the early Christians, all right? Unitarians and Trinitarians alike. Now, the question is, why would they, if you believe they are anonymous, choose the name like Mark and Luke, right? Where they could write, they could have chosen Thomas or Mary or whatever it was, right? You have these kind of gospels in a way, but they were written by the Gnostics, and the Gnostics were basically, ask an historian, heretics, all right? They thought Jesus was like a ghost. Anyways, why would they choose the names like Mark and Luke, all right? This does not give credibility to the Gospels because they didn't walk with Jesus, all right? Only Matthew and John did. However, we have those two names. This can this can basically give more weight to the assertion that they actually were disciples of Jesus and his disciples, right? They Mark and Luke did not walk with Jesus, but this just proves that the Christians were honest in saying who wrote these gospels, who wrote the four gems of the gospels that are able to save your souls, because Jesus died for you if you read them and believe him. So one, we can see here, Gospels being anonymous raises 3 points that they can still be 100% true, even if they're anonymous. Two, their names have been consistent for 2,000 years. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John have always written them according to the earliest history to the latest. Alright? Of course, until some people just thought it was cool to say different, right? That they are anonymous. And three, that all the earliest Christians always accepted the four Gospels, alright? Even though they rejected other works, right? Proving the Christians were actually not dumb, they were used to their brains, and they were like, you know what? These Gospels are special. They were indeed written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and we believe them because this is exactly what we heard from the beginning. And if you are in doubt about them, just ask the disciples, which were alive in that time. And if you can't even believe them, believe his disciples that walked around preaching, because the truth will save your souls. All right? So God bless you all. Stay safe and remember that Jesus died for your sins. Goodbye, folks. And God bless. Bye.